and welcome to a new vlog. So I'm back from Whole Foods. I think I would have put that footage at the start of this vlog. Mom and I went to Whole Foods early. It's Friday, so I've had my Whole Foods run. We had to go early because I've got a doctor's appointment, so I'm just starting this vlog before I go to my doctor's appointment. Otherwise, I feel like I'm running the risk of today and this vlog just completely running away from me, and I don't want this to just be a Friday afternoon evening vlog. I want this to be like a Friday vlog. After vlogging a little bit every day last week, I have not vlogged at all other than my little Target run since Sunday night. So I've kind of had this week off. There was a bonus video, so this vlog is going to go up on Monday. So on Friday there was a bonus come shopping with me / Target haul, because I went to Target on Wednesday after my physical therapy appointment. Found some fun goodies. You can go back and watch that haul if you haven't already. But yeah, I haven't really vlogged at all this week, so we're getting back on the vlogging train today. And yeah, it's just gonna be mostly a cozy work from home day. I've got some teaching work to wrap up for the week, although I am ahead on all of that and I'm in a really good spot, so I will finish teaching work a little bit early today, and then we can do some copy editing and possibly also some writing. I have managed to do a little bit of writing and outline work in Across the Pond 5 earlier this week. I had two nights where I just kind of felt like writing in the evening, so in my bed on my laptop I managed to do over 1,000 words one night and about 800 words the next night. So I'm nearing the end of chapter 1 version 2 in that project, so we'll talk about that more later if I can do some writing. Otherwise, there's your quick update on that. I have been doing some writing in that project, not a lot but a little. This vlog is also going to go up on Monday, which will be October 2nd or 3rd. No, the 2nd, because Saturday is the 30th. So this is going up on Monday, October 2nd. So it's basically, I may as well start today. It's basically Preptober. So I need to make a note. I do want to talk about NaNoWriMo because I feel like this first week of October, as Preptober videos are going to go up, everyone's going to start talking about NaNoWriMo. And I just want to have an early Preptober video. More of my Preptober content will probably come a little bit later in the month, but we should start off the month with a just Preptober is starting / NaNoWriMo intentions, because I will be participating in Nano this year, but not to the extent that I did last year. And I have a feeling, based on how camp went in April and again in June, and in April and again in July, and the conversations that we've all been having here on this channel in the comments, I have a feeling I'm not the only one who's very hesitant about NaNoWriMo and the main event this year. It felt like camp was easier to be low pressure. I really want to carry that low / no pressure approach into Nano. I'm going to be a rebel this year. I am not aiming for 50K. I will state that right now in the intro to this vlog. We are not aiming for 50K. I would love to have some of you participating in Nano, officially or unofficially, but just focusing on your writing projects maybe a little bit more than you usually do throughout the month of November. So whether you officially register on the website or just want to keep us updated here in the comments, that's fine. But I want this to be one of the places, maybe one of the few places on YouTube, and I'll do this on Instagram as well, where all of us Nano rebels can kind of unite and can have a fun, focused, no stress approach to Nano. So we'll talk more about that later. I'll spend some time late this morning, early afternoon, kind of thinking about what I really want my approach to be, but it's gonna be pretty much the same approach I had for July especially. I feel like April I still put a little bit of pressure on myself. July was when it was like, you know what, my top goal is to just have fun, and that's going to be the goal for November. I just want to have fun. I'm going to have a project I'll be working on. I'm going to have a goal that I'll set. We'll talk about that later in this vlog, but The number one goal is to have fun. And so I would love to have more people who are participating in Nano but not pursuing an aggressive goal, who are just focused on having fun and just want to be part of the community. I'd love to have a few people kind of in the same little sub camp as me within Nano, because I feel like Nano is when everyone who has had a more relaxed approach during April and July, Nano is when people just like really go for it. And I am not going to be going for it because I can feel it. I can feel it in my body. I don't have it. I'm going to be publishing my next novel sometime in November, hopefully. So that's going to be taking up a huge amount of time. I'm not going to have a lot of energy for Nano, but I do have something that I have been putting off and putting off and putting off, and I really want to use Nano this year to get back working on that, and that's my fantasy project. So we'll talk all about that later in this vlog, but for now I need to go get myself sorted. I have to leave in like 2 minutes for my doctor's appointment. Vlogging right now has helped keep me from stressing about it. I'm not looking forward to this doctor's appointment. I know I'm going to have to get a blood test, and I hate getting blood tests. I won't know the results, so I need to just not stress about what the results will be, because I'm not going to know those for at least a few days, if not a week, but I'm still stressing about the actual blood test, and I hope I've had enough to drink this morning. So yes, I'm going to go get myself sorted and ready to go to this appointment, and then when we get back, I need to finish a workout. I need to do a workout, take a shower, eat lunch, all of that stuff, and then we will get settled in, get some teaching work done, and then talk about book stuff and Nano and all of that. Okay, it is now 4:30. Worked a little bit later, longer than I anticipated, but it's all good. I'm definitely ready to stop though. If I grade one more application letter, I might lose my mind. Doctor's appointment went as well as could be expected. I did have to get a pap smear, so that was not fun. Very important, but not fun. I also had to get some blood work done. She had to try my left arm. That didn't work. Then she did my right arm. That did work. So she got what she needed, but I got stuck twice. So that wasn't fun. I hate needles. Absolutely hate needles. Like, I do have my ears pierced. I'm not wearing any earrings at the moment. I forgot to put some back in after my shower. But I do have my ears pierced, but only one piercing in each lobe. And I didn't do that until I was like 38, almost 39. I think it was October of 2019 was when I pierced my ears. I did vlog the day it happened. I didn't vlog it actually happening, but I vlogged the day it happened. I think that was the last year that I did Vlogtober. So yeah, I do have pierced ears, but like only the one hole, and I don't have any tattoos. I don't think I will ever get any tattoos. I hate needles. Absolutely hate needles. So getting blood work done is just, it's not the thing. It's not what I enjoy. Not ideal, not how I wanted to spend my Friday, but it's done and I don't have to go back for 6 months. So yeah, I came home, made myself some coffee, made some lunch, settled down to do some grading, got a ton of grading done, got through my emails. Now it's the end of the day and I can finally do some copy editing. My brain is holding out, so I don't feel, despite the fact that I did not sleep very well last night, and I did have a fairly early start this morning with going to Whole Foods early enough to get it done before my doctor's appointment, I am still feeling fairly awake. So that's good. So I had hoped to do 2 chapters today, and I don't think that's gonna happen. I think I'm gonna do 1 chapter today and try to do 2 chapters each day over the weekend. Looking at my writing tracker page in my planner, I did get up to, so since the last time I saw you, the last time I vlogged was Sunday, and I finished copy editing through chapter 9. Monday I did chapters 10 and 11. So I did 2 chapters on Monday, which was great. Then, as I think I said at the beginning of this video, I didn't copy edit on Tuesday, which I knew I wouldn't. But then I also didn't copy edit on Wednesday. I tried, I thought about it, I kept thinking maybe later, my brain never fully turned over. I was alert and awake enough to be able to grade papers and review drafts in email and reply to other emails and all of that sort of work. But copy editing, it's one of copy editing and proofreading. Of all the tasks that I do, teaching, book, YouTube, whatever, it's really just copy editing and proofreading that I refuse to push through because I know I cannot push through. It would just be a bad idea. I'm not in a position where I have to force myself to do these things, so I just know that there will be a day where I do feel like I can do it. And I am still technically ahead. So by end of day on Wednesday, I needed to be at 50,000 words if I was sticking to my target goals. And I was at 52,997. So I was above my goal. So I felt like I could just take the day off. So then Thursday, yesterday, I did chapters 12 and 13, which ended up totaling 10,568 words. So that put me to 63,565. By end of day today, I just need to be to 60,000. So if I do 1 chapter, that will probably put me closer to 69,000, 68. Probably between 67 and 68. So I'll still have a good several thousand word surplus over my target. So I am ahead, basically. And being at chapter 13, I had the thought, theoretically, I could finish this weekend. I'm not going to. But I will definitely finish before October 9th because, honestly, if I did just 1 chapter a day from here on out, that would still have me finish October 7th, which right now I'm projected to finish October 9th. I will probably do the epilogue the same day I do the final chapter, so that would be October 6th at the latest that I would finish. But if I can do 2 chapters, at least one day, if not both Saturday and Sunday, then it'll be earlier next week that I will finish, which would be perfect because then that means I can take the second half of next week. Like if I can finish this by Wednesday or Thursday, then I could take Thursday and Friday to format it and I could start proofreading next Saturday, which would be amazing. To start proofreading even just a few days early would make a huge difference. So yeah, I'm managing, I'm not completely caught up yet, but I am managing to get caught up to where I had wanted to be. And the earlier in October that I can start the proofreading process, the more time I will have. And right now, it's looking like I probably will be able to do 1 chapter a day throughout October as far as proofreading is concerned, and still be done before Halloween, which means I could theoretically still be uploading this book, which is wild to think about, but I could be uploading this book by the beginning of November, which is what I had wanted to be able to do. Originally, I'd hoped for the beginning of October and publishing by the end of October, but that I knew very quickly during the summer wasn't going to happen. So then I started thinking beginning of November seemed more realistic, and then publishing by the end of November. So I think that might be where we're at. So I do want to proofread one chapter today. I want to proofread chapter 14. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get the computer monitor situated, get my laptop turned on, get my Blackberry absinthe candle lit, create a nice cozy environment here, and get another chapter copy edited. Progress is progress, slow progress is progress, and that is what we are focusing on. So I'm just gonna focus on getting this one chapter done. And it's not a long chapter, I don't think. So I don't even think it's gonna take me a full hour. After this, we can talk about Nano and also maybe do some writing, which would be a lot of fun. Okay, copy editing for the day is done. I did that pretty quick. It's tempting to do another chapter, but I really don't want to burn my brain out right before the weekend. So I think if I do one chapter today and stick with that, I think I'll be able, hopefully, to do 2 chapters tomorrow and or Sunday, which would be great. That would be amazing. So I have managed to copy edit so far 68,882 words in only about 2 weeks. And that's with 4 days where I didn't do any copy editing. That's not bad. Like, this is what I need to remember for probably spring sometime, is when I'll be at this stage with Across the Pond book 4. Because once this book is done, that's going to be the next book that I move on to the production line, so to speak. Its first draft is done. I was in the middle of my first Scrivener read through, like it's time to do the developmental edits. I know that one is really, really strong. Like, it was a really strong first draft. Structurally, that book was good. I'm going to have to reread it, like a quick read, just to refresh my memory once Independent Hearts is done. I remember thinking at the time, and my alpha readers kind of confirmed this, that the story was good. Structurally, it was fine. There really weren't any huge structural plot story issues. It's just line editing, polishing, refining, strengthening, clarifying, which was kind of how this one was. But I think this one, Independent Hearts, had even a little bit more to do than Across the Pond 4 is going to have. So I do think I can get Across the Pond 4 edited fairly quickly. I'm not promising it will be out by like the end of the spring semester, but I do think if I can't get it published by like the end of April, early May, then most likely by the end of May or very beginning of June. I do think Across the Pond 4 will be a first half of 2024 release, because it really doesn't have that much work left. And I'm going to start editing that one as soon as Independent Hearts is officially submitted to KDP and is kind of off my plate, and I'm just waiting for a proof copy and stuff like that. And that's going to be a lot sooner than I think, because this is cranking forward. This is really moving. Like, you all probably won't be able to buy it for another 7 to 8 weeks probably, but I will probably be done with it. Like, it'll be off my plate and down to just final launch prep. 4 to 5 weeks? Like, brain is exploding. Anyway, so as this is going up and like getting another huge, so our transition into NaNoWriMo chat, a huge reason why I am trying to get this done and off my plate and submitted to KDP by, you know, on or around November 1st is so that I'm not still worrying about the creation and production of this book when NaNoWriMo starts. So I wanted to go over my goals, plans / intentions and my project for Nano. I'll talk more about all of this throughout October and throughout Preptober, but since this will be the first vlog that will go up in October, I figured we'd start that conversation now. So my project is going to be the fantasy novel that I wrote over a decade ago. I think I wrote it in like 2010. It's the first novel I ever wrote, and yeah, I wrote it just to see if I could write a novel, and I did. I got all the way, you know, beginning, middle, and end, finished it, and thought, okay, well that was cool, did that, checked off that box, and I think I was like getting ready to start my second master's degree program, and I was going back to grad school and wanting to do a PhD, and life took over. And then I got into writing romance, and then when I started to publish, I wanted to start with the romance novel because A Brave Start, which if you're new here, that's the first novel I published, second novel I wrote, first that I published. If I published that book and decided, you know what, being an indie author just isn't for me, I don't want to do a second one, it could have ended there. There didn't need to be more books in the Across the Pond series. Because I'm indie, and because writing series are a huge part of like success or the path to success, I spun out that first book into a series. And so there are 3 books in that series so far, which kind of form a trilogy, and now with book 4 it's going to spin off even more. But if I decided not to write anything after book 1, the story would have still been contained and enjoyable, and it wouldn't have stopped people from wanting to read it and like it. So whereas my fantasy novel is book 1 of probably a 5-book series, as I mentioned a few videos ago in my slow approach to publishing chat, I want to resurrect that story and potentially try using it to query for agents and see if I can do traditional publishing. So I'll talk more about that probably throughout Preptober and November during Nano. So before I can do an agent, I need a pretty decent draft, as close to finished as I can make it, as strong as possible of a draft, that sort of thing. Right now it is still very much a rough first draft. So it needs to be revised, but before I can revise it, I really want to map out the rest of the series and kind of do a synopsis or a story treatment or series treatment like for the whole series. So books 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what is the action that each book is going to have? So kind of writing 5 or so thousand words per book. So if it's 5 books and I do 5,000, that would be 25,000 words. So I'll probably be aiming for like 5,000 to 6,000 words. So my thought is for Nano, I will have a mental goal of 25 to 30K. Obviously when you do Nano, it locks in your goal at 50K. You can't override that, but I will very much be a rebel. I will probably put somewhere in the project notes that I am being a rebel and that I'm only aiming for 25 to 30K. So I want to write 5,000 to 6,000 words per book of notes and ideas. So it's not going to be a finished, like polished treatment for the series, but I just want to start mapping out the plot arc for the whole series as well as the plot arcs for each book. So I need to figure out for the whole series where's the beginning, like how does it start? I know that because I've written the first book. how does it end? So what is the end point? I do finally have, after all these years, some ideas of like where it's all going and what it's all building up to. And then kind of working backwards from that, you know, what would be the midpoint? What would be the big pinch points, plot points? So the big pinch point / plot points for the series would probably be the big climaxes for each of the books. I have never plotted a series like this. The series that I write are basically interconnected standalones. Each book is its own contained story that does not really carry on to the next. So this is going to be a challenge, and I don't think 25 to 30K is necessarily going to be easy, because it is outlining, and that just, like, I can write 30K in probably half the time it takes me to outline 30K. Maybe even less than half the time. So writing is definitely faster for me than outlining and brainstorming and developing and all of that. So the project will be my untitled fantasy project. I just call it Project Darkness. That's the only thing I've got. So Project Darkness will be what we're working on. My goal will be 25 to 30K for the month, and that will be as an outline / description / synopsis of the series divided into each book. And my main intention is to just have fun, for one. Have fun. That is going to be the #1 goal for this, again, is to just enjoy myself. And I think this is going to be a great book to work on in November, and I think it will be something very different to work on alongside my romance projects. I will probably still do the occasional bit of writing in Across the Pond 5, and I'll probably start editing, working on the Scrivener read-through and stuff of Across the Pond 4, and probably by the end of November, maybe even beginning to do some outlining in Independent Hearts 4, because that will be the next book probably after Across the Pond 4. So even though Across the Pond 4 is written and Across the Pond 5 I'm currently outlining / writing, Independent Hearts 4 will slip in between those two at some point and will take precedence over Across the Pond 5. And I will probably, as I'm working on the fantasy series and starting to research and navigate the querying process, I'm probably going to start alternating publishing in the Across the Pond series and publishing in the Independent Hearts series. And it might be more than one a year, but it might be something like, maybe because Across the Pond 4 is already fairly well along, I'll get that out in the spring, and then I might still be able to get Independent Hearts 4 out by around this time next year, but then Across the Pond 5 might not come out until summer of 2025, and then there might not be an Independent Hearts 5 until the maybe January of 2026, which is really weird to think about, but I'm just not gonna force myself to stick to a schedule with those. There's still lots of projects, and my brain still has ideas for all these projects, so I don't want to put any of them on a complete hold, but it's just gonna be, I just feel like my writing is starting to shift into, what do I feel like doing? Where do I feel like working? And right now, I think for November, working on this fantasy project is something I really want to do. I think once I get this, if I can get this story treatment written, and it's not going to be like a polished treatment that I would be ready to share with an agent, but that's what I want to then work on it towards, so that I can have not only this first draft, but I can also give probably a condensed version, not 25,000 words, but I can do a condensed version of the story treatment for the whole series, so that an agent could see, here's book 1 and here's where the rest is going. So I just feel like spending Nano doing that is a really important thing and would help me get back into this project. And once I know where the whole series is kind of going, then I can go back sometime probably in December, January, and start actually editing and working on the first draft manuscript again. So I think that will be a focus next year that you'll see. So yeah, those are my plans for Nano, my intentions. I want to have fun and see how far I can get. We'll talk more about Nano in a little bit, but it's not quite 6. I think I want to write for like 15-20 minutes. It's 5:47. So if I write for 15-20 minutes, it'll be just past 6 o'clock. I just want to work on Across the Pond and that outline just a little bit. See if I can add some more words, because I managed to get 1,149 words written on Monday and then 810 words written on Tuesday. And I am enjoying this, and since I'm not yet working on the Nano project, I want to keep working on this outline as much as I can throughout October, while I also start getting ready for Nano. So I'm going to do some writing, and then we can talk more about Nano and probably what my Preptober plans will be. Okay, I think I'm done with writing and book stuff and everything for the day. I managed to write about 600 something words. Some of that was copy and pasted from the original version of this chapter. So just to refresh your memories, I have written the first chapter, or a first chapter of Across the Pond 5, and then I realized I didn't really like it. It wasn't working for me. I've never done this before. I've never like rewritten a chapter from scratch, but that's what I'm doing. So I've got chapter 1 V1 and chapter 1 V2, and so I'm working on version 2 and copy and pasting some stuff from version 1 into version 2, and then filling in, like, I'm copying over what I like about the first version, and then I'm rearranging things and filling in the gaps to make it more what I want for version 2. I'll probably reevaluate the story after I get through chapter 2. The more I'm writing it, the more I'm starting to feel like I know what the story is doing and I'm more comfortable with it. But yeah, this has just been my little fun project in the background when I feel like working on it. But yeah, so Preptober plans. What can you expect here? How do I plan on preparing for Preptober, since my project is a little bit different? I'm not like going to be, I feel like for a lot of people, Preptober is when they do their character development and they do some outlining, or they get their scene cards written, or you know, whatever method you're using for developing your story. I feel like October is when people are getting ready to write, and then November is when they actually start writing. And it's a little bit different for me because of the project that I'm doing. I do have a sticky note on my whiteboard back here. You can't see the sticky note, but there in the pink right there is my little sticky note of things that I need to do in general, which is develop backstory, I need to do world building, I need to develop characters, I need to break down, I just wrote break down book 1, outline series, and working on the timeline. So working on the timeline and outlining the series is going to go hand in hand. I'll kind of do those two things at the same time. Developing the backstory and the world building and developing characters is also going to be part of that. So all of those things will be something I'm working on probably starting this month in October, but also a lot of it I'm just going to kind of probably wait until November, because most of my time in October is going to be spent working on Independent Hearts and getting that book just done. Otherwise, I have no business participating in NaNoWriMo in November if that book isn't done and uploaded to KDP and counting down the days to launch. So I probably won't do a whole lot of Preptober stuff. There will probably be some things towards the end of October as NaNoWriMo approaches. Definitely let me know in the comments if there is anything you would like to hear my take on as far as Preptober and planning your writing. If there's anything in particular you want to see in November for these vlogs. I don't want to burn myself out in November. So ultimately, like, Preptober plans, like, I don't want to burn myself out in October. Like, this is just the difficulty this year. And I feel like with things like Nano, it's so different from one year to the next. Last year in November, I had just published Independent Hearts 2 at the very end of October. So by November, my plate was empty as far as writing. I had projects I was working on, but like I could spend a whole month just focusing on one book and it didn't take away from anything else. This year, I'm publishing a book at the end of November, hopefully, and so I just don't have the time that I had before. Nano is not going to be my main focus, but it is a really fun event and it's a fun community to be a part of, and I don't want to miss out on that. I feel like especially here on YouTube, there's just so much NaNoWriMo content, and it's a great time to be producing content. It's a great time to be consuming content if you're in the WriterTube, AuthorTube space, or follow writer and AuthorTube type channels. So like I don't want to just opt out completely, but it's not going to be my main focus. But I do think, especially if I can get the book uploaded at the very beginning of Nano, I will have time, and it might just be those first few days I'm really not getting much work done. But like literally once the book is uploaded to KDP, it's just counting down to launch. And so I will have time to work on my Nano project. So I'm going to try to do as much prep as I can throughout October. I need to create a Babisco file. Like I'm trying to think, like, what do I need to do? I need to create a Babisco file for the project because I'm probably going to use Babisco since it has a timeline feature. It has lots of world building and character development features. So I will probably use Babisco. So I'm definitely going to use Babisco. So I need to get a Babisco file started for Project Darkness. I need to get a Scrivener file project binder thing started as well. I know I've got the first book in a Scrivener file, but I think that might be all I need. If I'm using Babisco as the Bible, then I don't need a Scrivener Bible. But I could create a Scrivener file that is all of my notes and ideas and things I might then compile. Like I can also include notes and research on the querying process and all of that. So I probably do want a Scrivener file. So I need to create those project files. Probably need to create a Scrivener theme. I need to create some music playlists and video playlists. Like this will be very different from what I've done before. Like I need lots of spooky kind of atmospheric type videos. So I need to get all of that created and ready to go. So Preptober is just going to kind of be getting the logistics ready. I don't think I'm going to do much actual like writing or planning or editing, but just getting stuff ready so that it's all set and I can start doing it. But yeah, the most important thing for Nano, and I just want to like reiterate this in the first kind of the Preptober pre-Nano videos, the biggest focus is just going to be to have fun. If you're choosing to opt out of Nano, completely understand. Perfectly valid decision to do that. I know Nano is not for everyone, and I'm sure that it gets really irritating on YouTube when everyone is talking about it and you're not participating. So I will be talking about it, but it's going to be the same no pressure, just have fun focus that we had for camp in July. It's just going to be sharing my writing progress, but not really focusing on stats and facts and data and stuff that I'm tracking. I would, throughout November, I would like to try to work on the project a little bit each day, about 1,000 words a day. It'll probably be closer to 25,000. Like, I'm not even gonna push myself to hit 30,000. I think minimum I'd like to have at least 3,000 words per book in the outline, the series outline. So that would be 15,000 words total. So that would be 500 words a day. So I think if I'm doing at least 500 words a day, I will be happy. And I think if I'm not still like getting Independent Hearts 3 ready to go, I will have time to do 500 words a day. I will probably still take Tuesdays off. Last November, I did still manage to write, like I hit par every day, and I do not want to do that again. So yeah, this is going to be the place to hang out as usual. If you want a no pressure approach to writing, we're just going to have fun. I'm just going to see how much I can get done throughout November, and I just want to fall back in love with this project. See if I can even still write fantasy. It's been so long since I've written in this project, and I'm a little nervous. So I just want to see if I can do it, and if it's worth resurrecting, or if it was just a fun thing. But I did have a friend read it recently, and she really liked it. So I do think it's worth pursuing again. So yeah, that's what we'll be doing. So you can let me know in the comments if you're going to participate in Nano, if you're going to be a rebel like me, if you're just completely opting out, if you're opting out of Nano but you've still got a project you'll be working on in November. We can still chat about all of that. So yeah, let's just start chatting Nano and Preptober and all of that fun stuff in the comments. I'm gonna end this vlog here because I know I've chatted a lot in these last few segments. So yeah, give me a doctor emoji, I guess, in honor of me going to my doctor's appointment. I did the thing. I did some adult stuff. I was a mature, responsible adult, and I went to see my doctor and got all those unfun tests and lab work and stuff done. So yeah, leave me a doctor emoji in the comments. Let's chat Nano. If you are doing Nano or not doing Nano, either way, if you're a writer or not a writer, whatever you are, however you identify as one of my subscribers, let me know. Is there anything specific you'd like to see me do in October or November here on this channel? What kind of content would you like to see, or what kind of non-writing content would you like me to make sure that I'm still including so that it doesn't get completely dominated by writing? All of that good stuff, I would love to know. For now, it is Friday night. It is 6:30. I need to figure out something for dinner. And there is a brand new season started. Episode 1 of Great British Bake Off is officially on Netflix. I got the email reminder today. So I'm gonna go watch some Bake Off and have a nice cozy Friday night. So give the vlog a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. I would really appreciate both of those things. And I will see you all very soon in the next vlog. Thank you very much for watching this one. Bye!